Thank you, Wendy. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Louisville Tea Party and 105.1 FM Talk, thanks for coming out and being a part of this today. It is truly an honor to be here today. And when I say that, I mean to be here in Jefferson Square on April 15th. Because it was here just a few short years ago that I came in contact with some great Americans who have become great friends. It was here in 2008. I met people like Les Naiman, the voice of liberty, a true patriot and a good friend. It was here that I met Marilyn Parker. First time I heard her, the mom without a teleprompter who's been leading the way for so many of us in the last 2 years. It was right here that I met Wendy Caswell, who was the catalyst to get the Tea Party launched here in Louisville and has been a driving force in the Tea Party for the last 2 years. Funny story about Wendy, though. We actually didn't meet here for the first time. Our paths had crossed a few years ago when I was a morning show DJ on a rock station, and she was with the Kentucky Karma Women's Football Club. And the real funny thing about that story today is that station was actually WLRS when it was a rock station, and now it's conservative talk, so I guess everything comes full circle. When I look out across the crowd here today, I see some familiar faces, and I see some new faces, and that's fantastic. Because it doesn't matter if you've been a part of this from the very beginning, or this is your very first Tea Party. You are here now, and that's what's important. You're here now because you want to be a part of the solution. You are here now because you're ready to do what it takes to get our country back on the right track. You know, for 2 years, the Tea Party has been ahead of the curve, talking about fiscal conservatism. I've been talking about the debt crisis, and I have to say, it's nice to see the rest of the country finally catching up and having this discussion. Maybe we'll actually do something about it now. You know, we all know that there's problems in Washington, D.C. We all know that there's problems in Frankfurt. We've heard the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, our government is broke, and we need to fix it. And that's why we're here. For 2 years, the Tea Party has been saying that we need people to stand up from among ourselves. We need people to get back into government. And I am so proud to see how many people have done that over the last 2 years and how well the Tea Party has supported them. We asked, step forward and we will support you. And great candidates have been stepping forward, and you have been supporting them. So thank you to the candidates and to those who support them. We also said over the last 2 years that we're going to hold every elected official accountable. And that's important. We know that Reid lies to us. We know that John Yarmouth lies. We heard Obama's lies the other day. But we have to remember to look at the whole picture. I'll be honest with you right now, I'm not sure where I stand with Speaker Boehner. I'm not sure if he was had or if he was trying to have us had. So we have to pay attention. And we have to remind these people, whether you vote for term limits or not, we still have the power to vote you out, and we will if you do not listen and do not represent us. I want to speak for a minute on Frankfurt, because we are here in Kentucky, and we have some very important elections in this 2011 election cycle. I'm sure you have all heard the definition of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. Keeping that in mind, I want you to ask yourself a question. How can we send David Williams back to Frankfurt to solve problems when he has created the problems that we're trying to solve? Why should we send someone back to Frankfurt who will take Kentucky taxpayer dollars and tell us we're going to have a special session to solve the budget, then have a session and not solve the budget? It hasn't happened once or twice. This is a pattern that needs to be broken. How can we send someone back to Frankfurt who's going to take Kentucky taxpayer dollars to renovate a bridge going across the river to Indiana so people can leave Kentucky with their money and gamble in Indiana, all the while telling us no gambling in Kentucky. Oh yeah, and by the way, here are my gambling losses on my tax income returns. We can't afford this anymore, Kentucky. We need a change. Dan Blanchard made a great point earlier, just a side note here. He's talking about the competition of the planes flying by, and he said, but you know what that sound really is? Those jets are the sound of American freedom. Thanks for reminding us of that, Dan. Folks, we have a great opportunity in this upcoming election to do something positive for Kentucky. And that's why we're here. One step at a time, do something positive here. It has a chain effect that becomes something positive in Washington and becomes something positive for the entire nation. That's why freedom, freedom. That's why it is an absolute honor to bring our first guest up here to speak to you today. This is a man who is a businessman with common sense, integrity, and a desire to do what is right for Kentucky. And in being a true leader, which is something we are lacking in Frankfort and something we are lacking in Washington, a true leader can get Kentucky back on the right track. It's not too late yet, but it will be soon. And that's why this election is so important. We as Kentuckians proved, and even more so as Tea Party members have proved, that when we get behind the right person, like Rand Paul, we can have a Randslide and we can send the right person to represent us. Rand's been doing a great job. Rand has been doing a great job for standing up for Kentucky and the United States and Washington. We have a chance to do that with our governor's race. And that's why it is such a great honor for me to introduce to you, with your help, the next governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Mr. Phil Moffitt.